hot under the collar for anybody, not only for me, but for anybody else. Any of my colleagues who are involved in the delivery of infrastructure, whether it is in the roadside or BRT, or whether it is, in the water sector as well. It's just the nature of the business that we are in.
The gantries have been set up for a couple of years now, if I'm not mistaken. They're looking pretty and purple. When do we start to pay?
Well, as you know, that first of all, the president has signed the bill into law. It is now law. The regulations pertaining to all of the tariffs, etc., has been published as well. The tariffs are out for public comment. The public has 30 days in terms of having to make comment on the tariffs. And after that has happened, the minister will consider all the inputs that have been made, comments that have been made, submissions that she may have received or may not have received, and thereafter the minister will then pronounce on the actual start date. But you're right, as the minister has also confirmed previously, toll collection will start before the end of the year.
When everybody has their bonuses, they'll be able to afford the e-toll, or I don't know. Anyway, let's move on from the dates and the times and talk about the protest action.
Sure.
A lot of people, it seems, are opposed to e-tolling, and many people have been saying that as a form of protest, we simply will boycott the e-tags. We're not going to get e-tags, and the law cannot force us. What do you have to say?
Well, I mean, look, first of all, I'd like to believe that we all South Africans are generally law-abiding citizens and that we will obey the law, and we do not become selective in terms of which laws we obey and respect and which we don't. Now, this is a law in the country, and it's always been, since the Sanral Act has come into being way back in 1998, that if you do travel on a toll road and if you do not pay, it is an offence not to pay because you're disobeying the law. So this is not something specific which has been brought into place because of GFIP. We should dispel that myth completely. That has been in place way back since 1998. Similarly, the issue around the user pay principle has been established in a white paper way back in 1996. And if you look at the National Development Plan, it's been reconfirmed over there. So I believe generally our citizens will pay at the end of the day.
But if they don't pay, is it a punishable offence? Do they get arrested? Is there a fine? Does the legislation make a way for punishment for those who don't abide?
I think it's important for us to understand the process that we will follow. Yeah? First of all, we will follow a normal debt collection process, no different than what you guys do when you send us out those letters, and hopefully our letters will not be intermediary at all. Like when I don't pay my TV license, I get a reminder from you to say, please pay your TV license, is the right thing to do. So we will also be following first the debt collection process. Only after the debt collection process has been exhausted will the non-payers be, the violators will be served with the summons, and then the usual and normal course of justice will take place.
There's another form of resistance in the wake, some saying that, let's give e-tolling a chance. The bureaucracy involved is so enormous that if we do actually all go out and get the e-tags, it will simply buckle under its own pressure and it will fizzle out and be in a worse situation than it is at the moment. Is there any substance, any truth to that?
Well, that's a very interesting sort of comment that people are making. We currently have toll roads functioning in South Africa all over the country. This particular system is in operation on the Platinum Highway, both on the N1 and parts of the N4 going west. And there's just over 60,000 people who are actually using the system right now as I speak to you. So it's not something which hasn't been tested, etc. But as you know, the old adage, the proof of the pudding is in the eating thereof. So we'll wait and see, but we're fairly confident that our system that we've put into place, is going to be working, and that there should be no problems at all in terms of the system.
There's some reports that the system has already experienced a few hiccups. Some motorists saying they have gone out and been proactive and gotten e-tags at that 50 Rand discount. However, they've received letters in their mail during the test run saying that you owe us 50 Rand. Can you elaborate more on that, please?
There has been a couple of instances where that has happened, and we apologize for any inconvenience that may have been caused. And at one time, it was the banking system, what they call the hyphen system, which was sort of, want of a better term, in inverted commas, the culprit. It wasn't our system which was causing that hiccup. It was the hyphen system which was been sorted out. But of course, we worked together with the banks, etc., and so forth, and that has now been taken care of.
Let's talk about how you plan to recoup your losses of having these gantries up and running. The staff is there, the money that has been spent already. How do you plan on recouping that? Are we, the consumers, going to have to pay for that at a later stage? Perhaps will you increase the amount of money that we have to pay on tolls? How do you plan on recouping your losses?
Just let's talk about the kind of jobs that we've created. These are first-time jobs, and if you come to the center in Midrand, you will see that there's something like 1,300 people which have been employed directly on this particular project. And a number of them are first-time employees, people who got jobs for the first time. And to my estimate, although I haven't done a physical count of it, I reckon between 60 to 70% of those people are youth who have got a job for the first time. It's something we need to take into account in terms of the benefits which accrue as well, other than to the motorists in terms of time saving, etc., rather than us always being negative about these things. You know, we've got a propensity in South Africa to look at the downside and not look at the upside of this. So there's huge benefits as well to the motorists that will happen. Now, in terms of the payment, naturally, of course, that's why this is a user pay principle. You use the road, and we all will have to pay for the use of that particular road. And if you look at the regulations, this is, I think, again, necessary for us to note that if you look at the regulations, we've made it very clear that the minister annually will determine the adjustments to the tariffs, right? But no adjustment will be made higher than the CPI for the preceding 12 months.
You've become very, very swift and sly at this. I like how you haven't spoken about recouping your losses, but you've highlighted the positives. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to delve any deeper into how you plan to recoup your losses. I'm going to ask you quickly, as quick as possible, what happens to some of the South Africans who are living in other parts of the countries when they do travel and come to Gauteng? Do they have to pay tolls? Do they have to register? As briefly as possible, what happens to them?
And all users have to pay for the use of the road. We have put in various kind of mechanisms, like those people will be coming to visit us. They'll be able to obtain a day pass and that as well. And you can do that through the call center. You don't actually physically have to go over there. But thank you for not calling me a fox when you use the word sly.
Listen, off air, there will be many names that are mentioned, and Fox may come up, but we leave it there. Thank you so much. Nazir Ali, the CEO of SANROL. And with all that talk about money, let's take a look at your indicators, starting